The Warzone Sports Network presents the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. Stay tuned and never miss out.
Good Saturday morning, internets, wherever you are, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. Please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and welcome into the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. All you got to do is knock twice and come in here and get this sweet bootlegged fantasy football information. Today we are doing top 10 running backs. We are loaded with information. We also put your fantasy football questions in the chat. Talk to us about where we've made huge mistakes. We'll defend it. We're here. We're so close. I got 2 drafts today. Scotty's got a big draft tomorrow. Mike's already doing dynasty drafts. Well, let's get into. We got Scotty from the Fantasy Football Wish List here. Follow him on IG. Always putting out tons of fun content. Had a good one on Saquon Barkley that I saw this morning. Loved it. And we got Mike on the mic. Host of shows like Nuts and Bolts. Host of Friday Night Wars here. And you'll see me all over the place bumping my gums about nonsense. Gentlemen, are we ready to get into our top 10 running backs?
Let's do it. My favorite position.
I feel like I've been waiting for this my whole life. That's why I got a line of running back jerseys behind me. I'm ready for it.
I need to buy some running. That's what I need to invest. I'm putting it on my birthday and Christmas list coming up. I need some running back jerseys.
I like Tomlinson and Sanders to be on my fantasy team this year.
Yeah. Oh, you want Falk also?
I'll take Falk to be my flex, I guess.
Okay. And then your bench guy.
Tim Tebow. Well, I mean, yeah, that tight end or quarterback. He does play 3 positions.
Tebow's going to be my strength coach. That's the position he has on my fantasy team.
And Brer.
Mike, throw my list up there, and I will get rocking and rolling right out of the gate with an opinion that I don't think anybody. People aren't going to like this, but I have Dalvin Cook as number 1, and CMC is the consensus. I get it. I wouldn't have a problem with either one of these guys going there, but I do think that having somebody as skilled as Chuba Hubbard in there, I think that could eat away a little bit because, yes, there's a drop-off when you're going to that backup running back, but he also just has a lot of talent. I think they got him in like the 3rd or 4th round. So, maybe it eats there. I do think here's another thing that I've been looking at with these top 2 guys is that there's a situation where maybe towards the ends, week 15, 16, 17, there's nothing to play for. They give the rock to Madison. They give the rock to Hubbard a little bit more because they have money heavily invested in these guys if there's nothing to play for. Alvin Kamara at number 3, I feel even stronger about this after Winston was announced the starter because he's going to make the smart it feels weird to say Winston and smart in the same sentence, but he'll make the checkdowns nicely. And I think that although it's not Drew Brees, Kamara's still going to eat. Speaking of eating, I got Zeke at number 4. If Zeke has Dak all year, I really like this pick. And again, this is for full point PPR. So that's why you're going to see Henry behind Saquon Barkley as my number 5. With having Barkley up that high, I'm betting against injuries or whatever people are worrying about. Then obviously Derrick Henry in there at 6, he's going to get a ton of carries again. They're going to try and run back the 2,000-yard season. They're at 6. I believe at 7, I have Nick Chubb, who I just absolutely love. And think that, if they did use him if there wasn't Kareem Hunt, he would probably be higher because I think he'd be used more in the passing game. And then you got Aaron Jones, who I still believe is the dude's a threat everywhere. Aaron Jones pushes him out to receiver, catching wheel routes. He gets in the end zone. He's pretty effective, down near the goal line in the red zone area. Jonathan Taylor, I think that there's going to be a lot of volume here. I think why not? So I've got him at 9. And then Eckler at 10, just again, PPR. He's got his quarterback, it's going to be good. Eckler missed a lot of time last year. So these are my top 10. Gentlemen, where would you have your major objection with my top 10 list if you had one? Scotty.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'd like your Dalvin Cook at top spot. If you pick him in the top spot, I don't think you can get a lot of people yelling at you for it. Aaron, with Aaron Jones, I feel with a longer season, he's never had over 240 attempts in a season. AJ Dillon's better than Jamal Williams, and I like Aaron Jones, but I feel that AJ Dillon's going to get the first down where it's a tough first down. He's going to get that. He's going to get the goal line carries, and he's going to get more work because he's more skilled than Jamal Williams, and to take some less slack off of Aaron Jones. And also we have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams trying to stiff it to the front office, so they're going to probably throw the ball 70 times a game.
I did take that into consideration a little bit, that maybe because Aaron Jones, again, who's a PPR guy, and I said that was part of my rankings, I may have even had him a little bit higher if I knew that there wasn't like some sort of like weird nice guy vendetta. Like all of a sudden he just looks like this like beatnik generation, like Aaron Rodgers, just like, yeah, man, came back from Hawaii and I'm feeling it. And who knows what's going to happen? The future's undetermined. It's just like, dude, why are you speaking in code and sort of like you want to just start with a sagebrush? Like, I just am never sure what he's saying. And he's like nicely dissing people. So I like this Snyder here. I did flirt with the idea of James Robinson being at 10, just to sort of like, hey, let's do something a little spicier. But I couldn't go over my guy Eckler. You see, we're bolting up in this house. So no. Eckler's going number 10.
It's super tough to put Robinson, especially in the top 10, even with the ETN injury, just because I don't feel like they have as much faith in him as the coaching staff did last year. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going after running back so early in the draft like that, and picking up guys like Carlos Hyde. I just don't feel like Urban Meyer has the faith in James Robinson that the coaching staff had in him last year. So we'll see if he can repeat what he did last year now that the opening is there with ETN being injured. But I agree with that. Right outside the top 10, maybe even a little bit lower than that, maybe closer to 15.
Yeah, and all the mocks, he's been going a lot higher than it's like I want him on my team, but
yeah,
third round, that high in the third round.
Yeah, it'll happen like that when something happens, news breaks, everyone just like punching their ticket. Like Julio Jones was way higher a couple weeks ago.
People got to calm their tits.
Yeah, Tony, as far as your list, I'm okay with the Zeke over Saquon. I actually, spoiler alert, might agree with that. But I think you're undervaluing both Henry and Chubb. I think both of those guys are two of the most consistent running backs in the league right now, two of the most consistent point getters in the league right now. I know you're worried a little bit about Kareem Hunt with Chubb, but if you go and look at what Chubb was on pace to do last year before he got hurt, and it was in the middle of the season too, so he may have outperformed what he was on pace to do. He was going to be the RB4 if he would have kept going at the points per game he was going at. And Derrick Henry obviously is Derrick Henry and put up 2,000 yards last year. That's the only objections. I don't think it's too bad though, Tony. If you're going to give a hot take, it should be on Zeke and Saquon being a little bit higher than most people think.
Yeah, I don't get that though. Like it's Zeke Elliott. He's still got something left. It was just hard. The offensive line was so beat up. Exactly. Get that spoon out. Jump inside that Salvation Army 10. Let's ride, Zeke. Come on, buddy.
I will say this. Let me get Derrick Henry at 6th overall. And it's over in the Warzone League, Tony. It's over.
Yes, we need to finalize this chaos today. Me, you, and Joe, and then that way we could start sending out our invitations. That league's just going to be insane. 16 teams with way too huge of rosters. That's just going to be nuts. Yes. Let's go to Scotty's list.
All right, fellas. So mine's pretty generic, but I wanted to mention, if you check out my Instagram page, I don't do many rankings because I'm more on a tier. I like saying tiers because with different situations and whatever people's gut feelings are, the difference between a 7 and 8 ranked guy is not a difference. If I get up and take a piss and you switch those guys on me and I come back to sit down, I'm not going to realize you even switched those up. But right now I have Christian McCaffrey at 1. He was hurt all last season, but every time he's on the field, he puts 40 fantasy points up a game. Like Mike just said, I got Chubb and Henry back-to-back with each other. I'm not expecting a 2,000-yard season from Derrick Henry this year. If it's a PPR league, I'm actually moving Henry back a little bit. And you guys can come at me on this. If I'm on the clock and Derrick Henry's there, I might pick Eckler over Henry because I'm expecting 500 yards less from last season from Henry because Barry Sanders had 2,000 yards. He was the closest to get to it, and it was 500 yards off. So that's my projection for Derrick Henry. And with that, I think Eckler could get 750 rushing yards, 750 receiving yards, and that's not including his 90 receptions. So that's the same stats as Henry. So if I'm talking, I'd rather do tiers than rankings, and I think people who are not familiar with that should look into that. But those are my rankings, pretty generic. I got Harris on the back end at 10. I love running backs with volume, and that guy's going to touch the ball over 20 times a game. And I'm pretty much on Tony's page. We got the same guys except for Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I am. Okay, let's talk about this. Damian Harris at 10 because I'm
sorry, Damian Harris. It was supposed to Najee Harris. Did I write that? I must have.
Okay, it's supposed to be
Najee Harris. Yes,
all
yes.
Right.
Big mistake. Najee Harris, not Damian Harris. I'll take Damian Harris as my 4th running back, but Najee Harris as my 1. Not Damian. I apologize, fellas. That would be a shock, and you could rip me for that. Set me on fire.
That is good. Najee Harris was another player that I considered with that 10 there because he's looked impressive, and I think he's going to get a large amount of volume. So with the idea that Najee's there, I guess then my next thing would be getting Saquon at 9. Like Saquon fell to me at 7 in a draft, and I was ecstatic for it because it's like this guy is a year removed from being top 3 top scoring back in fantasy, like 24 months removed from that.
Yeah. And I got something to say. When I made this top 10 list, it was also before the news came out that he was starting to involve more into his practice and how involved he is. It's wanting to get to the field. There's no setbacks in his game. As Tony said, I just posted today, he's starting week 1. And Adrian Peterson came back from ACL, MVP season. I'm not expecting an MVP season, but Jamal Charles came from an ACL, Pro Bowl. Frank Gore, 2 ACLs. He's top 3 all time. And then you had Deuce McAllister years back. The young kids probably don't know who Deuce McAllister is, but he came back from an ACL and had over 1,000 yards. Saquon Barkley's skill set is incredible, and I'm confident if it's confirmed that he's playing week 1. I mean, hopefully your drafts are a little later. Picking him in the top 5, I'm not worried about doing that.
Yeah, I really thought that was an interesting post that you put out on Instagram where you showed the players and what they did on bounce backs from similar injuries. I already have faith in Saquon Barkley and the talent and the opportunity there. And like Daniel Jones, it's like this is a security blanket for you. Like you either use your tight end or you are just like, how can I get the ball out to somebody I trust as quickly as I can? And that's Saquon Barkley. So like I said, at 5, I think in any format, he's a top 5 running back for me. But yeah, I like this list, and the Najee Harris at 10 is another guy where it's like, if he's going in the back and just based on volume, if he can have health and volume, he could finish inside the top 5.
And this year, I'd want a back end pick because instead of taking a chance, there's a lot of question marks. I'm fine with like a Najee Harris and Antonio Gibson. Like give me those 2 guys rather than like at the beginning and you get the Christian McCaffrey coming off injury, hoping Dalvin Cook stays healthy. Give me 2 good running backs at the back end rather than one of these studs.
Here's the thing I love about mock drafts is like sometimes you see the roster and you're like, this is it. Submit. This is the one that I want. And the one that I always feel that strongly about when I end up with that team is when I get, because I'm drafting in the 4 spot in a couple leagues, is when I end up with Zeke at 4 and then Antonio Gibson is still there. Because he's like my cutoff as to who, because I'm the kind of person that once you get past Gibson, I go receiver second and third. I did that in our draft because running backs went so in. So Scotty and I, he started the King of Lions League, very competitive, a bunch of fantasy football people in there. By the time it was like CEH or DK Metcalf, and I was like, well, I'm taking DK. Like it fell off to a place where I'm not comfortable, and I want somebody who's clearly the number one option at receiver, as opposed to a running back that, like, could Darrell Williams, like, start stealing some goal line work from him and playing a little bit more? Yes, he could, which means he's not going to be my second round pick. So it's just
I know, man.
This is exciting. I love the idea of thinking I have any clue what's going to happen this year.
And think about it, even in my top 10, you got James Robinson, we mentioned before, is not in my top 10. Aaron Jones is not in my top 10. You still got guys right outside that can help you out. But like you just mentioned, when you get past the top 16 running backs, it plummets.
Yeah, it goes real fast. Mike, you got your list ready to rock?
Yeah, I'll stand quiet on wish list's list because my list is similar to his, very similar actually. But I got CMC at 1 as well. I feel like these three are the guys you can have at 1, and I'm about to get my Derrick Henry case here in a minute. I know that a lot of people lower him down to around that 5 range every single season, it seems like. But I got CMC at 1. I just feel like when healthy, he's the best running back in fantasy football. When healthy. When you talk about the health concerns and any other concerns you have, then you can start debating between him, Cook, and Henry. But I feel like one of those three needs to be your 1. That's why I don't hate your Cook at 1, Tony. I feel like Cook, if he can play 17 games, is going to put up similar numbers to CMC. But at number 2, I got Derrick Henry just because I feel like he's the safest pick out of the elite running backs. Everyone on this list has some kind of concern. Derrick Henry's concern is that he's not going to catch 3 more passes per game. I'll take that versus all the injury concerns, all the scheme concerns, all the quarterback changing concerns, size concerns with Eckler. I will take that over everyone except for CMC this year in fantasy football. Still, even with Derrick Henry not having those pass catching abilities that some of these other guys have. So I think it balances out for me. And also, Derrick Henry regresses a little bit from his 2K season to 1,750 yards. I'm not crying. I'm not complaining. I'm winning fantasy championships if he does that. At 3, I got Dalvin Cook. Like I said, he's the only guy I feel like is in this top 3 tier. Alvin Kamara is close, but with the quarterback situation, that concerns me a little bit. Not too much to be afraid to put AK firmly at 4. I feel pretty safe, and I feel like that's a break off to Nick Chubb at 5 because of the Kareem Hunt situation and everything, but Chubb's still going to get his carries, and he's a big play monster. So you can have a game where he's not doing so hot. He has 10 carries for 31 yards, but he just busts a 60-yarder in the fourth quarter, and that's his style of play. So I love having that. Like, he can break at any moment ability, especially watching the game. I got Zeke at 6 for all the same reasons you have Zeke. You guys both have Zeke over Saquon. I feel like with Dak coming back, this offense is going to be potent again, and with all the weapons, they're going to get distracted and forget about Zeke. And Zeke's sneakily going to be involved in this pass game, I think. Jonathan Taylor at 7. Carson Wentz is coming back. I was pretty hyped about Jonathan Taylor early on in the fantasy football talk. I'm still pretty hyped about him, so I have him here at 7. I have Saquon at 8. So I actually sat down and really thought about it because I'm low on Saquon. I like to mitigate risk. That's why I have Derrick Henry so high. I like to make sure that I lock in, and I feel super confident that my first-round pick is going to be the best player on my team and he's going to be my workhorse. Whether I keep them or I trade for another first-round pick, whatever I do throughout the season. You said he's 24 months removed from being a top 3 running back in fantasy football, being a top 1 running back in fantasy football. Well, that was a 24 months of hell. So I'm very scared with Saquon Barkley. So I actually sat down and I said, how far do I let him slide before I draft him? And I decided 1.8. If I have 8 through 10 and Saquon's on the board, I'm going to draft him. But anything before then, I'm going to draft one of these other guys. I got Eckler at 9. I think Eckler has the potential to reach up into the top 5 this year, but it is a little bit concerning. Being a Chargers fan, I've seen his play style, and I've seen what he's good at. He's good on screens. He's good outside of the box. He's not good at taking handoffs up the middle and turning it into big plays like some of these other running backs. But for the PPR factor, and I'm just assuming that everyone plays PPR because if you don't, you're a loser. I'm just kidding. You
can follow that up.
I play in a couple standard leagues that come back each year, so I have no choice. But I have him in there just for that PPR factor. He's going to put it up, And then Aaron Jones at 10. I feel like you could move Aaron Jones into the 9 slot. These guys are super hard to decide between Jones and Eckler. That offense is gonna be crazy again in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers coming back on a little bit of a revenge tour.
I gotta ask. This is full PPR, right? How do you have Cook, Kamara, Eckler behind Henry? I could see Eckler, but you got Cook and Kamara. I gotta ask you, what was your mindset with that? What's the question mark? What's the question marks for you with Cook and Kamara?
Well, Cook's health, obviously. Cook hasn't played a full season yet in his career. Alvin Kamara is in a situation where we don't know what that offense is going to look like without Drew Brees. And if Kamara is going to get fed the same amount, I just like the safety play of Derrick Henry. I'll sacrifice. Like, I still think Derrick Henry is going to catch 4 to 7 catches a game regardless. I'll sacrifice his 9-10 receptions that Alvin Kamara is going to get for the safety net that Derrick Henry is going to get me 100 yards rushing every game.
Nice.
Well, I can answer it for you. We know what the Saints is going to look like. It's going to be Steamin' Willie Beeman. Like, that's who they just put in at quarterback. Steamin'. Okay.
I hate Winston.
I think Winston is going to be just fine with Sean. He went to school with them. So I have 2 questions. There's a bigger question I want to get into, and maybe we can come back to this in a second, which is where's that cutoff point where you start looking at Kelsey and Adams and stuff like that? I want to answer that, all of us, but I do want to give some love here to Dylan because I've not seen Dylan before, but he's very active in the chat. We love that. We encourage that here. He threw up his list. He's got CMC, Cook, Kamara, Chubb, Henry, Zeke, Saquon, Jones, Taylor, and Eckler. This feels like my list. So, Dylan, I just want to say you're a genius. You clearly know how to rank running backs. And welcome here to the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. It's a great list.
Thanks, Dylan.
That's probably like your bias-free list right there. That's what you're that's pretty solid right there.
Yeah.
A good safe list, yeah.
It's good. It's a good solid list. Okay, so back to my question real quick is that so when we look up, like if we put up Mike's board, and we can put up any of the boards that you want, but is this, like he said at 1.8, you have Saquon. For me, I'm still taking Saquon, but then when it goes to 9 or 10, I feel like that's the spot where I might jump out. I might break that train and take Kelsey or take Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill in that spot. Is that, how do you guys feel about that? Where's your spot to jump off?
Go, Mikey.
I'm not doing it.
All right.
I'm drafting all 10 first.
Okay.
If I'm at the end of this draft and say I'm at 9, right? I'm taking Eckler because I'm afraid that the person in the 10 spot is going to take Eckler with one of his 2 picks, whether he goes Aaron Jones Eckler or goes one of the receivers Eckler. So I'm taking my running back in the 9 spot. And if you're in the 10 spot, you can get both. You can get Travis Kelce and a running back. So that would be my strategy there. But if you're in the 9 or 8 spot, I'm taking the running back in the first round. One of them are going to fall. Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, or Travis Kelce. You're going to get one of them on the turn if you're doing a snake draft. So I'm still taking all the running backs in the first round.
Yes, and on that, I'm a running back whore. So I would pick 17 running backs if I could. But I'm going to speak as if, for the listeners, if you do choose a wide receiver, Devontae Adams or Kelce, like I said with Tiers, I think Antonio Gibson could get into the top 10. I'm actually a Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan this year. I love Andy Reid. I love his offense. I think he could end up in the top 10. So if you're going to go Devontae Adams, Diggs, or whatever, Kelce, and that's your choice, not mine. I'm with Mike. I'll pick running back. But if you go Kelce, look for Antonio Gibson. Look for Najee Harris. Look for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But you're going to end up with Kelce, Devontae Adams, one of those guys, which I'm comfortable with as my RB1. But once it gets back to you, you're going to take chances on rookies. And you're going to have that gut with the draft where you're like, I don't have, my running backs suck. So I'm a running back heavy guy like Mike is, but if you're doing that, you're going to see Antonio Gibson, who I'd take a chance on. If Eckler somehow drops, I love Eckler this year. Najee Harris, those are the guys, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Eckler, Kelce, Eckler, Hill, like that's the dream scenario at the end of the first round, right?
Yes.
Unless you're in that 9 and 10 and both Eckler and Aaron Jones are there. Now I'm really, really debating whether I should just pull the trigger on both those running backs. But if you're like in the 8-9 spot and you get an Eckler Diggs combo, I'm very happy for the rest of
I
the
love Eckler this year. Love him.
And yes, we do too. We hope all of that is 17 games of domination, and the guy puts up 2,000 all-purpose yards. Him and Josh Palmer just run this league. I'll never stop, Mike. It'll never stop.
You don't want to stop.
What was I had a brain fart on something that I was going to say, but let's go ahead.
Go on.
Oh, no. Yes, you're right. Yes. Thank you for re-triggering that in my head. Was that like, I hear what you guys are saying, and I can attest to Scotty is an RB whore to the, like, I think you're in our King
of Lions League. I picked Cam Akers with my first pick because we picked on July 4th because we're ridiculous. A week later, out for the season, we didn't start training camp yet. That's another thing. I had Cam Akers as a top 5 running back this year. And he would have been in the top 10. Dude, they didn't even start practices. My guys are getting hurt at 7-Eleven, dude. My guys are going 7-Eleven, slipping in the aisle of Slurpees.
This reminds me of Fantasy Flojo's reaction. He's a big Cam Akers guy.
Dude, I love Cam Akers. He got hurt. No, my first pick was Cam Akers. Came back around. I picked Antonio Gibson. Came back around. And DeAndre Swift, another guy who's swifting right off his feet into the glory hole. I'm getting injuries. We didn't even start yet. This is ridiculous. But no, that's why you pick running back heavy. I got Antonio Gibson, and I was lucky enough to handcuff Swift. So I got 2 starting running backs. Go running back heavy.
Yes, and Jamal Williams is going to lead that backfield in points this year. That's my bold take. Okay. You would think that would be my sleeper. Let's talk a little bit about that. Jamal Williams, great transition into this. Throw up my graphic there, Mike. Okay. Tevin Coleman, super unsexy pick here. But at the end of your draft, like, he's going undrafted. Like, you can get him in the 15th or 16th round. And I think to start the year, he's going to have a decent workload. I don't know how healthy he's going to be all year, but if you can get a couple of weeks out of him, maybe the guy who does draft Michael Carter feels a little worried. He's not getting on the field as much, whatever it is. I just think, like, if Tevin Coleman can have a couple of weeks, he's going undrafted. Why not take a flyer, throw him on the end of your roster, and then maybe, just maybe, he's trade bait, has a couple of good weeks to open the season. Scotty, I see some dispute on your face.
Trade bait? No, he's great to have on the team, to have an easy guy to drop and pick somebody else up. When was the last time Tevin Coleman was good? Is that when Kyle Shanahan messed up against the Patriots in the Super Bowl by running the clock out? What's going on? Tevin Coleman.
He would have been – he had moments with the 49ers, but again, he had injuries. Now was
the most rushing attempts he had in his career 23 in a season? I don't understand this. I like Tevin Coleman a couple years back, but I don't know about now. Guy can't stay healthy. He's older. He doesn't get volume. Not there. Good choice.
I hear you. I hear you that there is an opportunity for him to take if he's healthy. And that's always kind of the issue. But I do think that I don't know that a veteran coach who's trying to field a team and protect his rookie quarterback is going to just be opening it up to Michael Carter at the beginning of the year. Like, we've already seen them, like, we don't know. They're giving run to LaMichael Pirine and Ty Johnson and stuff like that. Somebody could early on take a bulk of the carries. And I'm saying, I'll give a shot to Tevin Coleman, who's going undrafted, as a guy that, maybe he stays healthy, takes the lead back at the end of the year. But all of Scotty's skepticism is warranted. But I'm going to take my super late 15th round pick and maybe spend it on Tevin Coleman and feel okay about it. And like he said, you could drop him.
It won't hurt your team. It won't hurt your team that late.
No,
you probably will drop him. But the whole point of this segment, everyone, is to pick someone way late in the draft that's going to have the opportunity to overperform by a large margin. I feel like Tevin Coleman could see volume, especially early on in the season. I don't know.
Don't try to be nice. Go Scotty's route and just totally dump all over it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm drafting him. I don't think he's on my radar at all, just because of all the running backs that you just listed. Like, you were kind of arguing against yourself there, Tony.
I'm just saying.
You're just saying that Michael Carter isn't locked and chained in there.
Michael Carter is going like RB, like he's going in the 7th round in a lot of these drafts. And I get it. You're hoping that he eventually has the spot. I'm just saying at the beginning of the year, he's there. Now, if I had, this is also too, like, have I already gotten my handcuff? If I had, because this is something I want to talk about at the end. I'm not using that spot to get a handcuff of somebody that I think is important. But if I'm just going for a 7th running back of somebody who could be a starter for a couple of weeks, I'm going to give a shot to Tevin Coleman, who I've seen produce in this league and was definitely went there because Robert Saleh likes him. Like, he didn't just show up on the Jets for no reason. The coach thinks he's good. All right. Who's next? Who's up next with sleepers here?
Oh, wrong one. I can go next.
It's all good. All right. What you got?
I like Ramondre Stevenson. He's been in the news lately because of his preseason performances. Got a game ball from me last week. I like Ramondre Stevenson as one of my late round flyers just because he kills 2 birds with 1 stone for me. He also is my handcuff to Damian Harris, who I'm high on and drafting in the middle of drafts almost every time, over and over and over again. And so when I get Damian Harris, here's my handcuff. But also I feel like Ramondre Stevenson has potential to explode this year. We're seeing how much the Patriots like him in the preseason. I wouldn't be shocked if something happens to Harris, God forbid, Ramondre Stevenson becomes their RB1. And you know that the Patriots are going to pound the rock this year. If they're starting Cam Newton, I'm expecting them to throw the ball probably less than 20 times a game, which is insane for the NFL nowadays. So all the running backs in England are going to get a bunch of touches. I think there's room for Ramondre Stevenson to be a late round flyer to keep your eye on.
Go ahead, Scotty.
No, that's good points. And if you're going to take I wouldn't go high on a Patriots running back because Bill Belichick will drive you insane as a fantasy player because Bill Belichick doesn't stick with one running back. Other than James White, you're safe. He's a 3-down back, but that's a great outtake. And Stevenson, Damian Harris isn't a workhorse back yet, so he has upside, but Stevenson's a good late round pick. I like it.
I'm for this too. You guys already saw I released my Ramondre Stevenson hype train video that I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning and picked him up. With it's Stevenson and Harris, I just feel like for the first time in a long time, I kind of, at least I'm presuming I know what the offense is going to look like and that they're just going to be running the football. So I think Harris and Stevenson, more than any other year, feel safer. And I feel even stronger about this based on him trading away Sony Michel. Like Belichick does, he's very calculated. That's why I was big on the tight ends, because everybody's like, oh, well, you don't know which one. I know this much. I know that Belichick doesn't do anything without precision. And so that if he went out and spent a bunch of money, and these are the first 2 players he got in free agency, he knows that he's going to at least try to incorporate them. Whether it works or not is another thing, but they will be a part of the game plan. The same thing now with getting rid of Michelle. Now you have, Stevenson backing up Harris. I like it. And then 3rd down, you bring in James White. The James White thing just scares me a little bit.
They're going crazy.
Same old sports. You got it.
What's happening?
They're going crazy in the chat right now.
They are.
Najee Harris is supposed to be in the top 10, not Damian Harris. Get it straight.
There's Najee Harris. I made a mistake, Christ's sake.
We may have made a mistake. We don't even know who made the mistake.
No, I don't know. I got to check what I sent you guys. Yeah. It's Najee Harris, not Damian Harris. My bad. And I'm going to lose followers on this.
But I will say this. If I see MC Jones at any point become the QB1, I'm trading everything New England out. Just because, or the running backs especially. I'm not going to have any New England receivers or tight ends on my team. But the running backs getting traded out, because I think that if they put in Mac Jones, you're going to see a little bit more of a air attack like we're used to seeing from a Tom Brady style offense. Might not be as good as Tom Brady, or he might be as good as Tom Brady. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I think it depends on how deep the league is, but I do think that Aguilar, Jacoby Myers has some value more with Mac Jones. Like whoever's going to be in that little slot, who's ever going to get those little option routes, that Mac Jones will be able to fire the ball away to, and whatever tight end is healthy, I could see in Mac. There's always fantasy value. It's just hard to detect where it is with the Patriots. Before you knew it was Edelman, and you knew it was Gronkowski. I think that a couple of those positions are going to reveal themselves at some point with whoever the quarterback is.
I like Jonnu Smith on the Patriots.
Yeah, see, everybody likes somebody different. That's why we all can't agree. And so we're all just we all agree to just leave them on the waiver wire and then rush to whoever explodes. It's like, can we all just decide we hate these guys because we are frustrated and McDaniels and Belichick won't let us know. So we just leave them there. Joe Morley, very active in the chat, asked us earlier about Josh Jacobs. Where do we have him? And Josh Jacobs is somebody that's intriguing to me as somebody who tends to neglect the RB position. I think if he's still there in the 4th round, he's somebody that I would like to have on my roster.
He's in the same boat as Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, David Montgomery. That's the guys you're going to see. Basically, you're going to be sick to your stomach. So that's like what we said before. If you go Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams, you're going to see those guys in your starting lineup.
I'm drafting Josh Jacobs. I'm drafting David Montgomery. And then later on in the draft, I'm drafting guys like Mike Williams, Corey Davis, putting those two guys together, and you'll be getting my Ezekiel Elliott, or you'll be getting my Aaron Jones trade offers in week 3.
Great point, because you're going to have a major drop-off if you don't. You're going to take running backs also from other teams. So their second running back is not going to put up points, and you got guys that you get wide receivers later putting up his second running back numbers. Good point, Mikey.
This Corey Davis's 4 for 70 game is driving me insane because I can't get him in any. I was getting him in the 9th, 10th, 11th round. Now he's gone in the 7th of every single mock draft that I do. And the draft, he went way too early the other night. And it's like I get so mad when I talk. What's preseason, everybody? Just let me have my guy that I was excited about.
In the Dynasty League that I'm in, the one that drafted this morning, actually, they make us decide our keepers like right as the season ends. So that way, if there's trades or anything happens in the offseason, it just makes it more interesting.
That's cool.
For the next draft that's up. So like I had a decision to make. I was like, should I keep Corey Davis or should I keep these other guys? I don't even remember who the other guys were. I was like, who knows? Corey Davis might get traded. And sure enough, got traded.
And you kept him.
Wide receiver 1.
It was on my last keeper spot last year.
Well done, Mike.
Well done.
I'd like to take credit for that, but apparently that was before we even knew each other. Let's get to Scotty's his dozer, his fantasy dozer, his sleeper.
I know. You guys clearly have bigger balls than I do because you guys are going deeper in the draft. No, mine is strictly for the guys who go for Travis Kelce, Devontae Adams, and then you get a running back like Antonio Gibson. Trey Sermon is going to be in your starting rosters rather than later. I love Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan had Arian Foster when he was an offensive coordinator. When he was with the Browns, he had Crowell, making a name for him. Mediocre running backs too. After he left Crowell's career ended. Then he had the Redskins with Alfred Morris. Alfred Morris was 2 back-to-back seasons with 1,500 yards. When he left Alfred Morris fell off. He was a 3rd-string running back. Then he actually coached Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman, bring him to the Super Bowl versus the Pats. Kyle Shanahan makes running backs great. He makes mediocre running backs great. And he made Mostert great in fantasy purposes, not in real life. But this year, Trey Sermon is already good. He's a good running back. Mostert's already hurt with his back. He hasn't had more than 140 rushing attempts in a season. Mostert will have his flash. Trey Sermon could be a 3-down back in a Kyle Shanahan offense. I'm picking Trey Sermon over Javonte Williams, who he's going higher than Trey Sermon in drafts. I'm that high on Trey Sermon. I think within the first 4 weeks, he's going to take over as the back and be absolutely explosive, and he's going to be in keeper leagues, a gold mine.
You just convinced me. I've been on the fence about Trey Sermon this whole time. I just can't get that confidence in him that I need to have in him to draft him.
You need Kyle Shanahan. You don't need Trey Sermon. Kyle Shanahan made mediocre backs unbelievable.
Exactly. I think you got this one.
His father did the same thing. I preach it all the time. Orlandis Gary and Mike Anderson played for like the Navy. Mike, Did you know? He played for armies. He played for some military program, and then came into the NFL and rushed for 1,000 yards with Mike Shanahan.
And Tony,
I did not know that.
Tony, to back you up, yeah, you're right. Mike Shanahan had the Denver Broncos. Terrell Davis got hurt. He was a first-round pick. Then it went to Orlando Scary. He was a pickup, and he was a top 10 running back when he played. He got hurt. Then Mike Davis came in. He got hurt. And then there was another guy who came in, and he was a top 10 back. Shanahan's picked top 10 running backs, dude. And any Shanahan running back, I am jumping on. And with Sermon going outside the top 5 rounds, bank it. I'm going Trey Sermon.
Yeah, I like this one, and I'm glad that you didn't do similar to what we did, right? Because this gives more of a variety, and I think there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of people that are on the fence about Trey Sermon, and if they're watching this, then it's like, yeah, this is going to be a good pick, and for those reasons, because a lot of people see Mostert, and they're like, what is a Kyle Shanahan running back doing going this late? And it's like, oh, back problems, had some other things. Mostert, if healthy, could rush for 1,200 yards in this offense. Right. We're just not sure. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen him get 225 carries in a season.
And my point also to back it up, Mike, go pick Sermon in your next one. If Mostert goes to a different team, he is not going to play. You see an Alfred Morris, you see an Isaiah Crowell, their careers just end. But Kyle Shanahan, the Shanahan family knows how to work their running backs, dude.
Oh, man, I'm going to be taking him because in a lot of leagues that we play in, they don't do this much research for shows. They aren't doing a mock draft once or twice a week. They aren't doing all this stuff. So, guys like Sermon are those little hidden gems that you can get when you're playing in a league that's just a little bit more casual than the way we talk here on the show. So, I'm in now. I'm taking this, and when I win a championship, I'm coming back and thanking you.
Thank you. Got my wish.
All right, just so to wrap up the show here, I just have one question for you guys, and it is about handcuffs and stuff like that. I believe that there's a lot of value in having your handcuffs, and I think on our top 10 list, all of those guys have handcuffs you should be picking up. The Tony Pollards, I think Devontae Booker should be a good one this year. It's a little touchy with Derrick Henry. And, obviously with Nick Chubb, you're probably not going to draft both of those guys there. But, is there a cutoff at which point you stop looking at? If you draft a running back in the 5th round, you're not then looking for his handcuff? I'm trying to gauge advice for people here. Where are you at on that?
I will always have a handcuff for one of my top 2 running backs. I'm always going to protect a running back. What I just said about Trey Sermon, he's not going to start as a starter the first couple of weeks unless Mostert is really hurt. But if you don't have a running back 2 yet, which will never be on my team, I'll always have a running back 2. But if you went Travis Kelce, DK Metcalf, Jefferson, and you still looking for your running back 2, to be safe, you could pick up Mostert, Trey Sermon. So you at least have a starting running back. You go Swift, Jamal Williams later, just to protect your starting running backs. You want to make sure you have 2 running backs. If you don't have 2 running backs starting for you, you're screwed. You're not going to win. You're just going to hand over your money.
I'm with it.
Yes, the challenge accepted. Okay, I am going to trade. I am trading. I pretty much already did that. So now all I need to do is trade away Dalvin Cook in our King of Lions league and then test your theory, because then I would have Kareem Hunt,
Swift, and Jamal Williams. I'll take the Alvin.
There you go. All right, you want to answer some of these questions in the chat? I put it in there to ask some questions, Tony. I'm sorry I didn't.
No, it's all good
for the show. But I have a question to start him off for Scotty. Lives, breathes, sleeps, eats fantasy football. I just drink fantasy football. We'll just say that. But anyway, I always try, especially guys that everyone's low on, to gauge where am I pulling the trigger on this guy? Where am I going to say enough is enough? I'm drafting him. And I cannot put a number on Joe Mixon. Where in the draft are you drafting Joe Mixon? If it comes down to it, where you're like, all right, this is ridiculous. Someone's got to draft him.
I'm picking Joe Mixon after the guys I mentioned earlier. I'm picking Joe Mixon after Antonio Gibson, after Najee Harris, after Clyde. I'm picking Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is going to be in the James Robinson era, but I will pick Joe Mixon over James Robinson.
Okay. So you're looking like end of third, maybe fourth even.
Yeah, I don't know how many team league you're playing in, 10 or to 16. So I can't gauge that way. But I'm picking Mixon before the Montgomerys. Who were we talking? Chris Carson. I'm picking Joe Mixon before those guys, but after Najee Harris, Gibson, and Hilaire.
I like it. I think I might go with that strategy with them because I've seen drafts where it's like, how is Joe Mixon still here? But I'm also scared. I'm just as scared as everyone else.
Right. Every time he has a chance, he doesn't soar. So, but he's going to have his opportunity this year.
We'll see. All right, let's keep this rolling. We're just going to speed run these. Fel K, you guys think Zeke has potential to be top 2 or 3?
All up to Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott is healthy, yes. If not, not even top 10.
Tony?
Definitely agree. If he's healthy, I could easily, and that's the thing with all of our top 10 running backs, the 4 or 5 that play 17 games, they're the ones that are going to fit. That's what it's about. Like all of those guys are going to produce. You're trying to get the one guy that plays 16 or 17 games, and they're going to finish his top 3. So Zeke stays. Zeke plays. I don't even want to say it out loud what I was going to say. I'm not in the jinxing business, but yeah, Dak plays. Zeke is probably the top back in fantasy if he plays 16 games because he's going to get so much work and that offense is going to move the football. Dak was going to throw for 18,000 yards last year.
And I'm not scared of Pollard. Zeke is a top 5 pick, but it's really up to Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott's healthy, he's top 3 over there.
I wanted Pollard to go to LA so bad. I feel like that was going to be perfect for him if they actually pulled the trigger and were able to get him out of Dallas. But I don't know if Dallas ever wants to trade him. He's a perfect backup for Zeke. Is Gaskins a sleeper? This is a troll comment. You guys can go ahead and say no.
It's not a troll comment. He's not a sleeper.
Okay. Same old sports. Thoughts on Philip Lindsay? You guys even got an eye on him at all late in the draft? We all gave late round flyers. No one said Lindsay. So
that backfield is so busy. So busy. He has talent, but he's also with who's going to get cut. I'm going to pay attention to who's getting cut. I think Mark Ingram is going to get cut. I think Philip Lindsay is a better choice than David Johnson, to be honest with you, at this point in their career. And I think they got Rex Burkhead too. I mean, how many they got the amount of running backs I want on my fantasy team, I think.
They got Mark Ingram too. It's just
there's so many running backs. Just try to go upside on like a rookie or go with one of these guys sleepers.
Well, again, you're going Philip Lindsay. You're getting him in the 13th, 14th round. So I love Philip Lindsay. He produces everywhere he goes, and David Culley is going to put him in the game. Like he's going to be on the 2-minute drives of stuff like that. He's going to get some run with the Texans.
And like I said, if somebody's going to get cut, I think it's going to be Mark Ingram. So you're going to see Lindsay and David Johnson.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who emerges as their like RB1. I don't know if it's going to be a true split. Because if it is, that's just even weirder with all these veteran running backs. But whoever it is on certain weeks, maybe. You know what I mean? Certain matchups, if you can get them in the 13th round. Same Old Sports wants to know, 3rd pick. You're the 1.3 spot. We'll assume it's a snake draft. Perfect scenario. Who you taking at 3? And then probably the turn at least into the 2nd and 3rd round.
For me, it would be Kamara. And then I would probably, I'm assuming, like I said, Antonio Gibson is like where it gets cut off. He's not making it back that far. I'm looking for DK Metcalf, Keenan Allen, Calvin Ridley's probably already gone too, but somewhere in there. And I'm going to say it, Terry McLaurin. Like if I want one of those receivers that I think is clearly the number one guy that is just going to get 150 targets in the offense this year. And I think all 3 of those guys I named are clearly that guy. I know the Bolts have Mike Williams or whatever. Keenan Allen should get 150 targets easy from a quarterback who is going to put up some huge numbers this year.
And you're going to catch 110 of those things.
Oh, I hope so.
And with Jameis Winston, Kamara is your safe bet at the 3rd pick.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Dylan is asking what we're doing quarterbacks. I think next weekend. Next Saturday, same time.
Same time, same great channel. Yeah. Oh, the quarterback one is going to be interesting too.
Gio Bernard, that's interesting. Gio Bernard's now with Tampa. What's the deal with Fournette and Ronald Jones? That's a backfield I'm not touching. I think Fournette's going to start for that team. Gio Bernard could be the third down back, but I'm not touching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running backs.
I think there's some value in Ronald Jones, and it all will, again, it depends on how things shake out. But if you have a spot, if you're already pretty RB heavy and you don't like any of the wide receivers, I don't know why. You're right. I don't know how I would end up with Ronald Jones in any of my teams, unless I'm like sort of really desperate on running backs. But even then, I'd rather have a fourth wide receiver like, I don't know, T. Higgins, or like if he's gone, you're still in that area where it's like Tyler Boyd, Mike, Gallup, Corey Davis. Like there's just too much there. And
if you want to take a shot with Gio Bernard, and that's what your gut tells you, you can get him at the end of your draft. You don't have to waste an earlier pick for him. You'll get Gio Bernard.
That's what I was going to say. Put him on your watch list. He doesn't even need to have like an explosive week to hold value. Just have him show that they're using him the same way the Bengals are using him. I think he would be very valuable if he's able to reach that kind of work again, like he was in Cincinnati when Andy Dalton was throwing the ball. And we know how much Brady loves those small running backs. But what I think the Bucs are doing with Giovanni Bernard, they're just going to bring him in and stash him for that playoff run. I think that's what's going to happen.
Good call.
Here's the last one. He has Darrell Henderson at the flex, Brandon Cooks, Claypool, and Waddle on his bench. Should he trade any of them to try and get a better running back? So I think he's saying pair Darrell Henderson with which one of these three receivers to try and send out for a better running back.
I'd deal Claypool. I'd deal Darrell Henderson and Claypool. And the reason why I'm saying that is the Steelers have three wide receivers. They have Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith, Claypool. Let's be honest, they're not all going to get 10 catches a game. Claypool's going to be like this all season. Deontay Johnson is more of the safer wide receiver there. You could probably sell Claypool's name with Darrell Henderson, and I would stash Waddle and try to upgrade your running back with that. What do you guys think?
I would Waddle's the one guy I would just take off the list, and I would try to package Cooks, Claypool and Henderson. And then my target would be in the area of like, is the guy unsure about Chris Carson? Is somebody unsure about Joe Mixon? You know what I'm saying? Like one of those guys we were talking about earlier, sort of in that Montgomery, Carson, James Robinson, like somebody I think that is just in a safer landing spot than Henderson is.
And what do you guys think? Maybe Claypool for Jamal Williams?
Something like that. Yeah, that's possible.
You don't even have to get rid of Henderson. Don't worry about it. Ask Claypool for Jamal Williams straight up.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that too. I think Claypool's your best bet too. I think Brandon Cooks has like this negative stigma for some reason. Go look at his stat line, compare it to Mike Evans' stat line, then come back and be like, wow, Mike, you just blew my mind. And then chase Claypool over Waddle, because I don't know what you're going to get for Waddle as far as people's interest. Maybe if you're trading with a Dolphins fan, that's going to be the most excitement out of them. Not that I think Waddle's a bad choice, or I think Waddle's not going to be very good. I think he's going to be good in that Miami offense. I'm just thinking general value. Claypool's going to give you more, and I don't think Claypool's going to outperform Waddle by too much this year because of the same reason Scotty was saying and how loaded that wide receiver core is. I just don't touch those guys usually, but if you are going to trade them, I'll trade Claypool. All right. That's all.
Awesome. Yeah. Joe put up Sony Michel there at the end. I think Sony Michel's definitely worth a draft pick where he's going. I mean, in like the mocks that I've been doing, he's going in like the 12th round, 13th round. Like, why not have him as your 5th or 6th running back?
Yeah, your running backs are good, Dylan. I think
you're safe, Dylan, and don't make any trades. That's a solid team.
Waller, Cook, Robinson, and Jacobs. Yeah. That's 80 points right there. 90
there
points.
You go, bro.
Yeah, that feels like a
nice job, Dylan.
Congratulations, Dylan. You've already drafted a stronger team than me. I hope he's not in that one.
You're not in my league, are you, Dylan?
Yeah. Goodness. I don't even know how you end up with that combination. Who's the wide receivers on that team? Like Laviska Shenault and like
guys drafting at a nursing home.
Yeah.
He's probably got Corey Davis.
He just said he has Waller and all of those backs. Like what's
That's
his
awesome.
Wide receiver?
Dylan,
like is it?
us.
I guess maybe it's like Robert
Dylan,
Woods.
who are your wide receivers, Dylan?
Like that's 4. That's Cook, Robinson, Jacobs. Let's say he has Waller.
Dylan, you're drafting like me, which I love it.
Like hypothetically, he went Cook, Then he went Waller, right? He went 2, and then 23, he went Waller, and then 26, he goes Robinson, comes back around Jacobs. So then who's his wide receiver? Robert Woods that's a decent number 1. That's a
Julio and Odell.
Oh, not bad.
Okay.
That's not no for what you have, and those are your receivers. You're in good shape, man. I hate Odell. I hate Odell Beckham, but the fact that the running backs you have and the tight end you have, and that's your wide receivers, you're in a tremendous shape.
Oh yeah, give yourself a chance, man. Go pick up Callaway right now.
That's it.
Joe says fade the Saints. I say pick up all the Saints. Jameis Winston's going to throw 30 touchdowns. He might throw 30 interceptions, but he's going to throw 30 touchdowns first.
My favorite QB is Russ. This is a good team.
This is a really good team. You should win a championship. You should win a championship.
I'm so excited for fantasy.
Push your friends to make this a $500 league because money.
Guys, I just decided.
We're gonna $500 a team.
We're doing $50 buy-ins.
And next week we'll have Wishlist's heist segment where he asks you for your team and then advises you to rip off all of your friends.
Yes.
Or not to rip off all
hey.
I'm so excited for fantasy football. Let's wrap this thing up. We are about to hit the hour mark. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Tell your friends. Dylan, bring back the smart people in your league or the suckers. Let us know who they are. We'll give them terrible advice. We want to talk to them, whoever they are. We appreciate your time here on the Warzone Sports Network. Mike, I'm not sure if we have what other shows we have coming up this weekend. Do we have a Mike's Film Room, or have you just taken so much heat on the Lamar Jackson? You're just like, I'm out of this game.
Almost crushed my confidence. I went on there, said Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP, compared him to Michael Vick and Randall Cunningham, and then look at the comment section, and apparently I bashed him. So you know what? Screw you guys. We're not doing quarterbacks anymore. I think I'm going to do Fred Warner this week, or a linebacker of some sort if it's not Fred Warner.
Good choice.
That'll be on Tuesday. Tonight we got Nuts and Bolts. If you want to come and watch me freak out at a preseason game for no reason. Tomorrow, I don't think we have anything scheduled for tomorrow, do we, Tony?
I don't believe so.
Well, we'll have more fantasy on Monday with Mock Draft Monday, so that's kind of our next couple days there. Tonight, Nuts and Bolts. Monday, Mock Draft Monday. And then Tuesday, Mike's Film Room of a linebacker. Don't know who
we'll run it back. Scotty from Fantasy Football Wishlist on IG. Thank you for coming in here, repping. Hopefully, we'll run this back many times throughout the season. Gentlemen, you know what it is. It's time to knock twice and get in here and get this bootleg fantasy information on the Fantasy Football Speakeasy on the Warzone Sports Network. Mike, hit it.
The Warzone Sports Network presents the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. Stay tuned and never miss out.